update 17 of Anno 1800 is out. This is actually the last big update. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see my video that's recapping everything that is in this update. But in this video today, I'm gonna focus just on one topic, which are the mods. Because with update 17, we actually have now a mod loader integrity into the game. They have actually come out and say that it wasn't really on purpose, meaning they were probably planning to share it later on. I do find that a bit strange, to be honest, because this is supposed to be the last update. But anyway, that is fine. Now we have it. In this video, I'm going to cover both. For players who never had the mod loader before, I'm going to show you how to install now mods on your game. And don't worry, it's very easy. I'm also going to cover for people who had the mod loader before what you need to do for your game to work, because spoiler alert, right now it's not gonna work at all. And lastly, I'm also going to try to answer a couple of questions that I've seen a lot. Okay, so let's dive in. First of all, for this to work, you need to be at least on version 17. You may wonder, how do I see that I'm on version 17? Well, in your game, at the bottom over here, you should always see the version of the game. So as you can see for now, as I'm recording, it is 17.0.122 something. As long as you're higher than 17, this video will work. If you're before than 17, well, first of all, probably you should update your game because this is for free. You know, it's not linked to DLC or anything like this. Just need to be connected to the internet and then your game will update. But if for some reason you really don't want to update and you want to play with mods, then in the video description below, I have a video that's showing you how to play with the old mod loader, so you can check that one out. Now, if you've never played with mod before, don't worry, this is really not that hard. And it's actually easier for you now because you don't need to uninstall the mod loader. So what do you need to do? Well, first you need to find your install directory. This will be in your program files, you know, it could be in your local disk C, D. It depends obviously where you save your games. In your program files, you will find the Ubisoft game launcher, you go to game and then Anno 1800, you may have multiple games and you should get to something that looks like this. The only difference is maybe you don't have this folder called mods. If you don't, that's easy, you know, just create it like this and again, call it just mods. That's it. You just call it mods and nothing else. Obviously, I already have one, so I'm not gonna create a new one, but this is the folder where you're gonna put all of your mods. You can have one, you can have many. That's also what's really good now with the integrated mod loader is you can have as many mods as you want into the folder, because now every time you start a new game or you load an old game, it's going to ask you which mod do you want to have active for this specific game that you're gonna play now. Now, if you've never played with mods before, you may be wondering, wait, where do I find those mods? How do I get them into this folder? Where do I download them, right? And this is quite important in particular because you don't want to start downloading things that could have viruses, etc. I fully understand. So you want to go to a place that's reputable. The first one is Nexus, the second is quite similar, is GitHub, and the third one is there's also a specific Anno 1800 modding community on Discord. So if you go there, you know, you can find a lot of support, a lot of help, and you'll also find a few mods that are not on Nexus. But Nexus is really the place I would suggest you all go because this is very user friendly. As you can see, right, you can look at which one are new today, which one are new this week, the most popular, etc. For example, let's click on Jacob's collection, which is actually a collection of multiple mods, so that's also great. You'll be able to then see a lot of pictures of what this mod will give you. So for example, in this mod that I'm actually using in my current Let's Play, don't hesitate to check after this video. It's an amazing Let's Play that we're playing with a lot of mods and like mods that are bringing aircraft carriers, submarine, and a lot of amazing mods from Jacobs, for example, bringing over here skyscrapers for your workers, for your artisans, but also a lot of new production. So a really amazing one. But as I was saying, the good thing with Nexus is you'll always see, you know, a lot of pictures of the mods before you download it. You can also see a good description of what is inside. So for example, you know, you'll see what each of the mods can do. You can also check posts and bugs. So, you know, you can always check this out, particularly if you don't know how the mod works. And then when you're ready, when you think this is a great one, you know, just go into file and then you'll be able to download it. There is a mod manager download. Obviously, don't do that anymore. Just go to manual download and then you'll either be able to download for free, or if you have the premium account on Nexus, you can also have the fast download. As you can see, for example, this collection of mods, this is a lot of different mods, is 170 megabytes. You're gonna download at 3 megabytes per second, right? So as long as your internet is fine, this is totally fine. But of course, if you want to support Nexus, you can have a premium account. Once you have downloaded it, obviously open it. Usually it's a zip file, and in the zip file, you will find all of the mods. Sometimes it can be just one folder, sometimes it can be multiple like this one, and then you just copy them into the mod folder that we just talked about in your install folder. Do that when your game is closed, but then just launch your game and you will have the mods. The first time that you do that, you will see this message on the screen. It is basically Ubisoft, the Anno team, so putting this disclaimer, because obviously remember that putting mods is on you. This is not part of the game, right? They have nothing to do with it. It's created by the community. So sometimes that can break your game and they cannot do anything about it. This is on you. If you start to use mod, you have this risk. I will say though that if you use, recent mods that are used by a lot of players, you should be safe. And you will know if that worked if you see modded detected over here at the bottom. Once you see that, as I said, just create a new game or load an old game and you'll be able to select which mod you want to have. And then you should have the mods that you've downloaded. Obviously, I don't know which one you downloaded, but you can see, for example, over here, I have a new type of production, the vegetable farm. Over here, I have the pescatarian, right? So all of these are mods. And that's what many of the mods are, right? They bring new buildings to the game, new production chains that you play as if it was anything else, but it's just new. Now I'm gonna talk a bit about if you already had the mod loader, what should you do? But regardless, don't leave, because at the end I'm also going to cover a lot of questions that I've been seeing. So if you already had the mod loader before, still in your Anno 1800 install folder, now go into the bin and go into Win64. In this Win64, you should see Python 35 and you should also see Python 35_UB. Delete both of them, and by delete I mean really just delete them, right? I'm not gonna do it because my game is running, but just delete them. Of course, first quit the game, right? Don't have the game running, but just delete both of these files. Then in your Ubisoft Connect or on Steam, you will go to the properties over here and do verify files. This will usually take a few minutes and it will tell you that there's a problem and it needs to be fixed. It is basically the game is going to recreate now a good version of this Python 35 that we just deleted. Then for the majority of people out there, the game is fixed. You can now launch it and it will work. You don't have to do much. But for a few people, this may not be enough. For a few people, when you do that, maybe you're gonna get a black screen for a few minutes and then the game will crash. There is usually two things to do. The first one is you go into your mods folder, and if you see a folder that is called cache, just delete it. Delete it and then try again. And usually this will fix it. If it doesn't, what it means is one of the mods that you have is actually a game-breaking mod. It's probably an older mod, a mod that just doesn't really work with this new mod loader. We don't know all of the details yet, or maybe some people do and I don't, and don't hesitate to share in the comments below. But basically in this case, what I would suggest is just take all of your mods out. Then try again to launch and it should launch without any problem. Then start adding mods back, right? Maybe add one or two and see if it works this time. If it doesn't, one of those two mods is the problem, so take it out. If it does, then start adding a few more, and then you see when it starts crashing, this is because you've added one mod that is not compatible. If you have found which mod is not compatible, then I suggest you go back to Nexus, and this mod may have already been updated by the mod order so that the problem is not there anymore, right? So download the new version and then you can play. Or maybe go into the Anno 1800 modded community, the Discord community that is in my video description below, so they can help you. If you do all of that, you shouldn't have a problem. This is basically what I had to go through, and now my game is running perfectly. Now let's talk about a few questions that I've heard a lot asked in the last few days. But first, let me remind you all that once again, it doesn't mean that Ubisoft or the Anno 1800 team is supporting mod. These are not official mods, right? It just means they've made it a bit easier for all of us to play with mod. And I do appreciate that. Thank them for that. And I also do understand fully that they are not supporting the mod officially. Then I've seen a lot of people asking, what does that mean for the Steam Workshop? Are we getting a Steam Workshop? I don't know the exact plan, but personally, I very much doubt that, we'll have a Steam Workshop. I think this is basically the opposite. If they hadn't made this, I think having a Steam Workshop would have been more likely. Now that we have this, it sort of defeat the purpose, in my opinion, of the Steam Workshop. So I don't think we're getting it. The other big question I keep seeing is, now which mod should I download? Well, first of all, I think try to look for mods that have already been updated after this update 17, right? Some of the new mods or some of the old mods that have been updated. On Nexus, for example, you can actually sort by last updated, so you can really see at the top the one that have just been updated. There's also a few that we know are actually working. For example, Jacob's collection I just mentioned, you shouldn't have any problem, so don't hesitate. And that's the second element, I think. So look for the mods that are well known, that a lot of other players are playing with, so you can sort by downloads, right? If I sort by downloads, I should see some of the key ones like Spice It Up, very well known. But please do try to avoid a mod that was created in 2019 and hasn't been updated since. It is very, very likely that it's not gonna work, sorry. And that's pretty much it. I'd love to hear if you have any comments, questions. Don't hesitate to put them in the comments below or to join my Discord community. Once again, also don't hesitate to check now the video that's appearing on the screen, which is our current modded series. We're playing with tons of mods, a custom map too, because by the way, yes, there is a mod to create custom maps, so don't hesitate to check also that. And I hope to see you next time.